Time to start putting Max's engine back together. Went and got a top end kit. This has basically all of the gaskets that you need to redo the top end, including new valve seals and stems and seats and all that sort of stuff, but I don't really need all of that stuff. It just comes with it all. So that bag there, you got manifold gasket parts for the exhaust and some of the intake manifold. And then there's the exhaust one. Exhaust manifold. These actually look better than the one I got last time. I got, there's the that's the rocker cover gasket one, the rubbery one, and the head gasket. You just want to make sure that this one does not get bent. Oh well, this one even gives you your torque stages. And 55, 70, 86. Yeah, when you're putting them on, you don't just torque them straight up in one go. I've cleaned all the old gasket off there. I'm going to go and get my compressor so I can blow any of the crap out of the pistons that fell down into these ones and out of some of the holes, especially the bolt holes, like these ones, if there's any stuff that fell down there. And then I'll start getting, I'll put the, I think that's basically the first part, put the head gasket on, get the head lined up on it. I'll get that torqued on and then I can start putting everything else on because everything basically hangs off all of this. Got some arborists coming today. They gave us a quote for removing this tree. It's on the edge of a slope on our yard. It's only about 8 metres from our neighbour's house. And it leans towards his house and our house. So we're having that removed because it has started to drop branches on the driveway. So it won't be long before it starts cracking and, I know, becoming really dangerous. We're into the holidays. It's Tuesday. I came up to the van on Sunday and started putting all that engine bits together. I got the head on, exhaust manifold, intake manifold, carburetor, got the rocker cover on. The only stuff I've really got to do now is the front end, which has the timing belt and everything. Got the new thermostat. I need to clean off the surface of the housing for that to put the new gasket on. Got to make sure I reattach my radiator hoses. I think I've got coolant here that I can use. If not, I'm going to have to go and buy some. And I still think I need to get some hose. That I'm not absolutely certain. I know I've got to look at what hoses I've got. But I know that I've got one hose that actually split, like broke completely. It had gone hard. That's a coolant hose, so I need to make sure I've got that, and that's for sure. Another really important part of putting your engine back together is making sure that everything is ready at top dead center. Now I know my head is at top dead center for piston 1, just see here, and I double checked all of that. Gear at the bottom will be at top dead center because that's where the key is, but your distributor is a trickier part. Your distributor goes basically into the front of the engine and runs off the gears. So it's got this little spiral gear here, and so when that goes in, when that meshes with the gear in behind the top timing pulley, you'll see the distributor rotor will move because that gear's meshing in. You got to know where your number 1 piston is, and I also want to start with this screw roughly in the center so that I've got room both ways for setting the timing. When I took my distributor cap off, I kept all my cords on, all my leads. This is the way it goes on, like this, and This is my number one lead, which is coming off here, which means it's down towards the bottom left of the distributor. So at the moment the rotor is too far forward, forward. It's going to hit that at the wrong time, so I need to pull this out, move this slightly, and then try putting it, and I'll put it back in. Okay, you can see the angle of the rotor is pointing down towards the bottom latch section, and the bottom latch section is where number one lead comes off. So that's pretty close now, and then I can actually move this around to get the timing exactly right once I get the whole engine together. So that, I'm just going to put that into place. I'm pretty happy that that's where the number one piston is going to be firing. Now I just got to hook up the leads and stuff. Arborist just came. The tree that was here is now there, all cut up into chunks. Group of 7 took them 49 minutes from arrival to leaving because they're gone. Basically finished getting Max's engine all put back together yesterday, Arvo. I actually worked a little bit into the dark, and so I started to lose sight of what I was doing, but I got everything in. I've just come up and filled up the coolant, and I charged the battery overnight to down the laundry. I'll just have one more look over to make sure that everything's reattached, because I do think it is. Everything looks like it's there. I'll have to start it up hopefully, get it run and try and get the timing set to ear, because I'm going to have a timing gun. Let it run for a little bit until it gets warm enough to actually open up the thermostat, because then I'll have to put some more coolant in, because that will suck oil out of the radiator, and I've made that mistake once in the past. Double check everything, fingers crossed, and we'll see how we go. So I haven't put all of the panels and the seats back in yet, just in case I've still got to work on it. It's a lot easier without all the seats over the top. It's out of here. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping that's just an issue with the fuel not being through the line yet. I have to check whether all those spark plugs are firing. So I've almost run my battery flat. Got my little charging block on here. It sounded like it was just a little bit timing, so it was sitting here. I've moved it this way a little bit. We'll try it again. to adjust that, just the distributor position. It's continuing to run. It's warming up. A little bit of smoke coming off it from the oil off the engine block. Just waiting till I feel some hot water in this top hose, because that means that the thermostat will have opened and I can put a bit more coolant in there. Okay, I'm starting to feel that hot water, so I'll shut this off. I'm going to adjust this a little bit so I've got more play in my timing adjustment. That's a lot of smoke. A lot of that oil was probably from my oily hands while I was putting it all back together. I'm hoping once that all burns off, this sort of stuff will calm down. So in order to give myself a bit more play in my timing, I want to be able to twist this further this way maybe, and have this firing a little bit sooner, because this goes around this way. So if I turn this way, the little prongs are a little bit closer in this direction, so that'll mean it'll fire. So what I do, I just bring myself back to the middle. I'm gonna pull this out. Notice the rotor arm moves around. I'm going to move it back about 1 gear position. So now it's down where it was before in its position, but I'm now in the center. So it means that I can move the distributor further around to try and hit that at an earlier point, thereby improving my chance of getting the timing right. So that's that bit. That can go back on. I've loosened the radiator cap, but haven't taken it right off yet, just in case it's hot. It's under pressure, but there won't be a lot of water in there because it's not full. So I've just taken the cap off, and you can see there's no fluid at all in the radiator, which means it's now been sucked all through the engine and everything, so the level will be low. I've got to top that up now because there's not enough fluid in the engine. Coolant. Wouldn't be a bad idea to get a new radiator cap too. I just looked at it and it's a little bit ordinary looking. Rubber's starting to go in it. Oh, come on. I'm going to have to rotate the motor around to top dead and make sure it's all correct. Oh my god. So I had to readjust that again. I've checked in here to see that I've actually got the top at piston 1 and my timing mark down the bottom was at top dead center. I've just wound it back so that it's at 6 degrees before top dead center, and this is now pointing to here, which happens to be where piston 1 is. And if I rotate it this way, it'll just advance the timing just a little bit. If I go this way, it'll retard the timing just a little bit. So I think I've got it right this time, alright? I think I've got it right. Please be right this time. Sounds like I got it. So I'll put the rest of these panels in, all these bits, put the seats in, take it to a test run. Just if I know what's going on with this, the driving right, it might be just a flag, but there's no acceleration. It stalls it. Alright, so I've had success getting him running, but he's still not running properly. Dan Brent mentioned to me the other day that, you know, all boats and vehicles are supposed to have female names, and my wife has often said that Max is short for Maxine. But I think he's just a cantankerous old bugger. I've been getting a bit of remote troubleshooting help from a mate of mine who lives down in Victoria, Rusty, and he's given me a few things to try. He thinks there might be a case that the carby is blocked and it seems like it's starving for fuel. When I open the throttle, you can actually see fuel squirting into the carby. So I've taken the air cleaner off. You can see fuel squirting in there, you can see it atomizing, but it's just doing nothing for the rev of the engine. I even then opened it up and squirted some fuel straight down the gullet of the carby, thinking, well, if it's starving for fuel, I'll give it some fuel. Nothing. It just coughs and splutters at an idle. Doesn't increase its rev at all. Every hose is on the manifold, so there shouldn't be any lack of vacuum or anything like that. I mean, I can actually feel the vacuum on some of the hoses, and there's definitely vacuum sucking down the gullet of the carby. Second butterfly won't open because it's not getting enough rev to get a good vacuum going to open the second butterfly. I really don't know. Let's have another go, shall we? So it's Wednesday evening. I've spent the best part of 3 days this week, so Sunday, Tuesday and today. Well, Sunday and Tuesday was putting the engine back together in Max. Today was starting him up and seeing if he works. And he idles, but he won't accelerate. And I've just pulled the rocker cover and the timing cover back off and rotated the engine, checked the valve timings and the valve gaps. 2 exhaust gaps were slightly more than they should be. That was 2 and 3, so I've readjusted those. But it's now too dark to do anything else with it. So I'm going to be tomorrow, put all that stuff back on, start it, and see if I get any sort of acceleration out of it. Will it rev? A mate of mine who was trying to help me out, we tried out a few things. We tested out the, he said maybe your carburetor's got a block jet. I could see the fuel coming through the jets. And I even, squirting extra fuel in there, all that did was foul up the plugs as a too rich mixture. So I cleaned the plugs out, reset their gaps as well. So tomorrow I'll just basically put the rocker cover back on, put the belt cover back on, put everything back on at the front to put the fan on and get the fan belt on, put all the plugs in, distributor back on, start it, try it. It really seems like the van has finally died, but I really can't understand why. He was running fine, and then it started running bad, and we know that timing gear had moved because of the shearing of the key, so of course it's going to start running rough. But now, everything's back in, it's all in at the right place, it's all in at the right timing, and he's still not running properly. Not sure what I'm going to do if this does not work tomorrow, because I'm wasting too much time on it now. Really wasting too much time on it.